Describe the most important aspects that must be taken into account when calculating barn capacity: the resting area, access to feed and drinking water, the number of head lockers and cubicles, etc., especially with regard to specific needs of the transition period. So, the criteria for planning a new barn: the level of the soil should be less than 150 centimeters under the floor. You need to avoid deep, water covered areas, and there needs to be a maximum of a 3% slope directed south. And you also need to check the legal regulations, like the minimum distance from cities, food factories and other farms, etc. And you also need to look at the possibility to connect to public electricity and water. The long axis of the building should be facing east to west. And there needs to be a deviation from the main wind directed, should be plus or minus 15 degrees. And there needs to be well-paved road surfaces and effective rain drainage. And also consider the optimized logistics for forage and manure transport, and there needs to be labour availability. For the distribution, the adult dairy cow distribution, it should be space for 80% milking and 20% dry cows. During the production period, 100% of available stalls need to be used. However, in transition periods, a maximum of 80% of the available stalls need to be used. This is because during the transition period, they're more sensitive to stress and diseases. And during peak calving, the capacity of the barn should fit with expected peaks. The feed bunk space needs to be 76 centimeters per cow. And for the water access, there needs to be an optimal of 10 centimeters per cow. And the milking parlour needs to have the correct capacity to milk all the cows twice a day. The special considerations for a cow in the transition period: this is 3 weeks before and after calving. They should have close-up care and maternity housing and fresh cow barns. During the transition period, the stocking density can only be a maximum of 80% of the capacity. There should be easy access to drinking water, and it should be good quality drinking water. You separate the cows and you separate them based on their first lactation and second lactation. There needs to be proper grouping. This is to decrease hierarchy and fights. And have proper clean and dry bedding. This is to maximize comfort. Try have a stress-free environment, so a quiet place with no crowding. If there's a feed change, make sure it's a gradual feed change and make sure they have adapted diets and an optimized dry matter intake, and make sure you avoid negative energy balances and have very good hygiene. It's so important, as well as continuous observation and monitoring.